Nebraska leads the Big Ten in 9 separate categories, including scoring offense, scoring margin, rebound margin, assist to turnover, 3-point field goal percentage defense, and I'm sure a category that I forgot. And then the Huskers also, national stats came out today. Nebraska leads the nation in scoring offense, scoring margin, defensive rebounds per game, and assist to turnover ratio. They're also among the top 15 teams in the country in 10 other categories. Huskers play at the Mission, or the Dana on Mission Bay Holiday Tournament this weekend in San Diego against some very good basketball teams, including NCAA tournament qualifier Drexel from last year. Coach, if you'd like to make an opening statement, you can, or you can just take questions.
Okay, thanks for all of that, Jeff. A little early, I think, to be talking about all of those standings and statistical categories, but we are excited about how we handled the 5-game homestand. I think after a year of not playing in front of our fan base to get sure, we'll schedule 5 straight home games and enjoy the friendly confines of Pinnacle Bank Arena. Now we'll have to take the show on the road, and as Jeff mentioned, we're going to be playing teams in San Diego, in California, that have 3 super seniors, 5th year starting, and then 2 other seniors, 4th-year players, players that they're just really experienced basketball teams. And so we are expecting just a much tougher challenge, and just going on the road presents its own challenges. So I think we'll learn a lot about ourselves over the next few days, and we're really looking forward to it.
Some of the margin of victory is about the opponents, but is there a quantifiable difference between beating a team by 30 and beating a team by 65?
I don't know that we really have thought about that, Sam, and
indicative of how much better your team might be.
I think that there is just a little indication that I feel like there's more balance and more contributions and more people kind of stepping to the plate. And when I look more at the 10 different players on our roster that have scored double figures, so far this year already, and some of those kinds of things as a better indicator for us than true just scoring margin.
Amy, great height man, by the way. Jeff is awesome. Did you see this coming? I mean, are there points in this first 5 where you're like, holy cow, this is better than I even thought?
This throughout the summer, there were certain times where, just in practice, we felt like this has a chance to be a really special group. But I think that, over the first 5 ball games, I do think that we've had some new players, some freshmen that have really kind of stepped up and shined and brought us sparks and things that, you're not 100% sure if you're expecting that in game minutes like early in the season. And I think they've just been learning. You can almost see every single game that they're getting opportunities to really play significant game minutes, the growth and the learning and the advancement. And so I think that's the part that has really maybe been a little surprising for our staff.
Are done for your team's confidence, and has it changed their mentality from when you started just over a few weeks ago?
The thing, Kevin, that I love about this particular team is that their expectations have been high from the get-go, and that's half the battle. We talked about before we even played a single ball game that you have to have that belief and those expectations, and this group really has. And so they set some pretty lofty goals, and I think that they're striving to achieve those, and that's why we're seeing kind of an elevated confidence and just focus, and they're continuing to find ways to improve and not just settle.
For those folks that have not seen your team play and they see the 100-point games and the offensive rank that you're performing, how do you describe what you are doing that's allowed you to have so much offensive success?
I think the biggest thing when we really evaluated it is just the pace that we're playing, and I think it starts with pushing tempo, and we've always known that a player like Sam Hybe can push pace and be special in transition, and Sam's been kind of in and out a little bit here in our first 5 ball games, but I really think with Josh Shelley and Allison Widener, coming in, they both just really aggressively kind of hunt in transition that paint, which creates a lot of offense for our team and just gives us more possessions and allows us to play at that pace that is producing a higher points.
Amy, have you been encouraged by sort of not just the amount of points you're scoring, but the balanced scoring, making it, I'm sure, a lot harder for teams to key in on just one player?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel great about that. I think when we go into ball games facing teams and opponents that have multiple double-figure scoring threats, and it does become a lot more challenging to game plan and find a way to try to slow or shut down all of those avenues. And so I think right now our team is really presenting that to opponents, and we've got some really solid presence in the paint, and we can pound it inside and go at you in that way. We've got some kids that can obviously shoot it from behind the arc, and players that really go in transition, and so I think that that balance is the key that we've been striving for, and we've been able to accomplish it so far.
You had mentioned that Jazz is really aggressive, but you also mentioned earlier that I think in the season that she kind of lets the game come to her. Yeah. And doesn't make a lot of mistakes, doesn't force things. How much do you appreciate her ability to turn the switch on and off even within seconds? Yeah,
it's pretty incredible. I think that's what's special, is to be able to play with pace and push tempo, but not be sped up. And so we talk a lot about playing with pace and space, and we also talk about pace and poise. And she's got those just kind of naturally, instinctively. I mean, she's played a lot of basketball at a high level, and I think that leads to that kind of confidence. The game is, even when she's pushing tempo and playing with pace, the game is still slowed down for her, and she sees and reads things very well, and that allows our whole team to benefit.
With Maggie Mendelson signing, what was that experience like, working with volleyball and your assistants and their assistants? What was that experience like for her?
Yeah, it was just so much fun. It's just so much fun. I think Coach Cook and I had a lot of really good opportunities during the pandemic to share ideas, thoughts. We had a lot of Zoom calls where we would just kind of talk and pick each other's brains, and he's been incredibly good to me since I've been at Nebraska. So then when this situation came up and we knew she's a special athlete and a special talent, it was really fun kind of coordinating on both of our ends, and we got to know their staff just a lot better through this whole process, and it's been a real collaborative effort from both staffs, both my assistants, their assistants, John's assistants, and just a incredible young lady and family, and we're so excited she's going to be a Husker.
Did you ever visit at the same time, or were you kind of going back and forth?
It was really, yeah, we never went at the same time, actually. It was kind of, we'd like to stagger it out, and there were a lot of, oh man, Jalen's surprising her today, and oh, okay, Coach Williams is surprising her at practice today, or, and we just kind of staggered out our opportunities, and obviously, we're co-recruiting a player, but we're on different recruiting calendars, and they might be in a contact period when we're only in an evaluation period. And so, trying to make sure that, we coordinated and made sure that they understood that, oh, okay, well, if Jalen came to see you right now, he could have contact with you, but I can't. I can only evaluate, and, those kinds of things. Just great communication and collaboration. It was a true team effort.
To ask you about the portal. I mean, coaches have bemoaned the portal. You guys have had some real success with Jazz and Bella. Who handles your sort of portal recruiting, or is that dependent on a specific coach and a specific position?
Yeah, I think it's really just dependent on location. You know, we have certain coaches who really kind of focus on certain areas of the country and of the world. And in you know the particular case of Jazz Shelley, obviously we had a very long-standing relationship because we had recruited her the first time around, and so that allowed, once she went in the transfer portal, for our whole staff who was really familiar with her to be able to be involved in the recruiting of her the second time around. But a lot of that depends on just parts of the country and previous relationships and potentially you know, coaches and who knows the coach or the, you know, somebody that can connect us to people. So
Amy, what do you want to see from the team in San Diego?
I want to see us take a step forward, and I think, you know, the girls have kind of identified that they want to strive towards being the best rebounding team in our league, and we're nowhere near that right now. So if we could take steps forward against some really experienced and veteran ball clubs out in San Diego, I think that will ensure that we're continuing to improve.
Anything else for Coach Williams? Okay.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to bring Jazz Shelley up just for a couple minutes, since we have a few moments before Coach Cook. Jazz had a triple-double on Saturday in just 20 minutes. She had 14 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. She's also leading Nebraska in block shots. As you can see, she's a shot blocker. And she's Nebraska's leader in rebounding as well. And she's one of 3 Huskers that are atop the Big Ten Conference in assist-to-turnover ratio. Sam Hyde leads it. Jazz is second. Allison Widener is third. Any questions you have for Jazz, go for it.
What's the season been like for you so far, just personally, coming to Nebraska, but now getting into the season? How have you been feeling?
It's been fun. I mean, it's so awesome to have fans in the stands again. I mean, the whole of last year having not even parents allowed to come to the games on the West Coast, to now playing in front of thousands of people. It's just been fun, and the team that we have now, it's just awesome to play together. It's just take it for granted. Don't take it for granted being out on the court right now.
It's gone better than expected for you early in the season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was a bit nervous coming into this season, a new role for me. I mean, a new team. I didn't know how I was going to adapt to the coaches have been so good with the offenses that they put in. They're trying to help me get through. It kind of feels like I've been here for a while now, not just a couple of months, which they've made it really helpful for me.
When you were, after you transferred from Oregon, decided you were going to transfer from Oregon, how important was it that Izzy and Ruby Porter were here?
It was huge. It was obviously me and Izzy have had a relationship for a really long time, so being able to talk to her even through last season about like maybe considering like going elsewhere, she was really helpful in that process, and having those relationships instilled with the coaches already was huge. And I mean, I went in the portal thinking like I'm gonna look at my options, but I kind of always had Nebraska in the back of my head.
How close were you to picking Nebraska out of club basketball in Australia?
That was definitely an option too, to go back home. But the main thing was like I knew that I still wanted to stay in America and still do college ball for a little bit, get my degree. I definitely looked into it, but I just wanted to finish out these years.
Have you gotten triple-doubles in your career before?
First one. Yeah.
Did you know you were on the verge of getting one?
Yeah, Sam Hybe was kind of my triple-double counter at halftime. She was keeping track for me.
Anything else for Janice? All right, Coach Cook will be up in a moment. Officially, Maggie Mendelson signed her letter of intent this morning, so we will be sending out information on that probably early this afternoon. Yeah, absolutely.
know this will be quick because you guys are dreaming. I think we already got started. B. Ryan.
Nebraska is tied in the Big Ten standings with the lead with Wisconsin. This Friday they play Wisconsin on BTN at 4:30, and then Saturday at Purdue at 8 o'clock on BTN Central Time. And then just also a reminder, on Sunday the NCAA selection show will be at 7:30 Central on ESPN. Coach.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to make a comment about Maggie Mendelson, who committed and signed her letter yesterday. Anyway, I know some of you guys interviewed her, but when the very first day we could recruit, after not being able to recruit for 2 years almost, or a year and a half, whatever it was, she was the first place I went to see. I flew to Salt Lake and was there the very opening morning of a club tournament she was playing in. And anyway, she's a special talent. She's a multi-sport athlete, which we love here. Awesome family. Her dad's an elementary school teacher, so we talk the same language. And anyway, she did something really cool yesterday. I walked down to practice, and here's her and her family standing down there, and like, whoa, what are you guys doing here? And she came to commit in person. So just shows you a little bit about her and her family, and she's done something nobody else has ever done. She played on the USA youth basketball team in a major competition in the World Championships for volleyball. It started. Her and Becker were the two starting medals. So we're very, very excited, and more importantly, the mom brought crumble cookies. If you haven't had them, I'd highly recommend them. Start buying stock in that company when it goes online. Okay, we got a shot. This is what every coach and team dreams for. We got a shot to win a Big Ten championship this week, and got to give it everything we got.
This is going to be a lot of fun for fans because there are 5 teams in contention in the final week. As the coach of one of those teams, what are your emotions and what are your thoughts about what might unfold over the next week?
Well, I've been saying all along, this is the best the conference has been. There's so many good teams, and we got a chance to control our own destiny, and we have a tough challenge ahead of us, and so we like those challenges. But the most important thing is we've worked for 9 weeks to get in this position, so we got to go for it and enjoy the process and have fun with it. And it's a big challenge, but our team's worked hard to get to this point.
What has the team done over the course of the season to put them in a position to play for the title this week?
Well, if we'd have won a couple more deuce games, we would have a lead. So that's what we haven't done, but we've obviously done a good enough body of work. And I think the biggest thing is that you can't get 2 down or 2 up in this conference because everybody's lost matches this year. We lose a match and everybody's like, what's wrong? Nebraska's not good, whatever. I've been saying it's really hard to win this year. And we've stayed pretty bulletproof through it and got up off the mat and come back for the next one. And so I think that's what our team's done the best, to hang in there for 9 weeks. I mean, this has been a grind, and we had a brutal stretch. We've played a lot of weird Wednesday, Saturday, Friday, Wednesday, Sundays. We haven't played really back to back the whole year, so we've had an interesting schedule. Let's put it that way. So this will be a great test, but we'll go see what we got.
When you look back at that last Wisconsin match, what's probably the biggest thing that needs to change this time around?
We got to win close games, and we were right there. And you watch yesterday, Minnesota, Wisconsin. I mean, it came 3 deuce games. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. You got to win 3 games by 2 points. So that's what we're going to have to do better. We're going to have to make plays when it matters. I'll tell you guys a football story since Tommy Chattel's here for the San Diego Chargers. When Don Coryell was coaching, they were down the last minute, or last seconds, last play, and all the guys were talking. We're drawing up these plays, and then he pulls Dan Fouts over and says, "Throw it to JJ." That's all you got to do. Throw it to JJ. They won the game. That was John Jefferson, wide receiver.
Who's your
Tommy,
J-
you with me?
I was gonna say, who's your JJ?
I'm talking to Tommy. You guys, the rest of you guys, you don't even know the you think the Chargers are LA Chargers. They're still San Diego. All right, anything else?
I mean, do you enjoy this challenge that, I mean, you're playing Wisconsin who's tied?
This is why you come to Nebraska. We want to play for championships. So, yeah.
Did anyone on your staff know that Maggie was going to be there? Or?
Jalen did. Jalen was in the loop from, because she had called, I think her and Tom were working together to coordinate all this. And then she was planning on coming to our Rutgers game, but it got canceled. That's why so we still practiced Saturday, and she was at practice in the morning. So they flew in really early. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's write another book. That'll be in one of the chapters, that commit. It's pretty cool.
John, we've asked you this before, but I'm curious if your thought has changed about some conferences do conference tournaments. Do you like the way the Big Ten does it, or it's just?
Yeah, again, I'll quote Bobby Knight, who used to be a basketball coach. Tom Chattel knows who he is. It's harder to win a Big Ten championship than it is a national championship because you got to grind for 10 weeks in the toughest conference. The NCAA tournament's 6 matches over 3 weeks. You got to get it hot for 6 matches. Big Ten, you're on the road, home and away, grinding. So it's harder to win than a national championship, in my opinion.
John, do you have a favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Pumpkin pie. Okay, thanks, guys.
what the problem is. I did so good the first time that people are gonna have like such high expectations. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now I'm just gonna do terrible and they'll be like, never bring this guy back.
All right, I knew the JJ reference. I want you.
Questions, guys?
Where's this team at mentally just after another tough one Saturday?
Ready to go win against Iowa. That's where we're at mentally.
Is there any motivation with the fact that they could win the division with a win? Like, you guys can play spoilers?
I mean, it doesn't matter if they're, last in the division or first in the division. We're gonna go play hardest like we have been every week.
There's, Blake played pretty extensively for the first time in his career. I guess what did you make of his performance as you got to see a little bit of the film, and what is he like as a young player?
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of myself, and but a lot smarter because when I was his age, I didn't really know what was going on. He has a lot better understanding what his job is and what he does on the field, and watching the film and watching him play. It's really exciting. It's awesome. Like I said, it was a proud dad moment. Helping him as a player and as a person. He did a really good job stepping in. And handled it a lot better than I would have.
How have you seen, just overall with plays? I know there was injury stuff early on. How have you seen him kind of get better and kind of get him filming all that stuff that goes with it?
Yeah. Like I said, it was awesome to see being his roommate and one of his really good friends. Kind of being a part of the development, and just like I said, or just being one of his really good friends. It's awesome to watch. It's cool to see the progress take over in the sense of his hard work and the dedication that he puts in every day finally coming to fruition. Like I said, equating it to me and seeing me turn that corner and continue to do so. Growing up in front of our eyes, I guess you could say. But he's been doing a phenomenal job the whole season, and especially these last couple of weeks.
I know you're a defensive guy, but can you just speak to the toughness Adrian's played with this year?
Yeah, no, he's a true leader. The amount of stuff he has to deal with day to day, not even just at the quarterback position, but just mentally with what's going on, and on top of that with injuries. Excuse me. He's done a phenomenal job. He's a great guy. He's a great person. I don't think anybody else could be doing what he's doing right now. And that speaks a lot to him as a person.
You came in with Luke and Nick, same class. I'm sure you see film. You're out there with those guys. What can you say about the progress that those two have made, and just kind of the tandem that they are right now for you?
Yeah, the dynamic duo. Like you said, coming in with those guys, and it's really cool to see all your best friends succeed. For me, it makes me even more excited to watch those guys succeed than myself. I love them to death, and seeing them find success and be a dominant player in the Big Ten and in the country it's awesome to be a part of. I love being a part of their journey, and somebody they're going to be talking about when they talk about their football career down the line, and watching them work and play football every day, and from day one to where we are now, it's been cool to kind of see the progression.
You were pretty complimentary on Saturday night of Caleb Tanner. I guess I just wanted to follow up on that. What have you seen from him this year in particular? Sort of, you said he sort of turned over a leaf. What did that look like for you?
Yeah. When I was first got here, an outside linebacker, he would miss meetings or be late or not give 100% in practice. And when Coach Dawson came in, coached him and led him, taught him a way how to turn over that leaf, how to be mature as a person, how to be a leader, how to set a precedent in practice. He turned himself into one of the hardest working guys in practice in the film room with what he does. Great guy to be around, leader of the position group. Bring energy off for him. He's been making plays and doing really well.
Can you put in perspective what this game means to you and for the team? It means to the fans. How big of a deal is this for you guys?
I mean, every game's a huge deal to me. With Iowa, I guess there's a little extra spice. I guess being our rivals and the whole built pent up rivalry in the guys we hate the most. But for me, I treat it like every other week. You can't lose your mind and start getting out of gaps and trying to be a hero because it's a big game. Just stay on the path you've been doing and trust your training that you've been doing throughout the season.
How are you going to remember this defense? To have stayed sharp the way that you guys had through season that didn't go the way that you did.
Bunch of fighters, man. Coming back week after week after week and holding our team, our mental fortitude, and our attitudes together. Some of the best guys I've played with, player-wise and also person-wise. Great dudes to be around. They make it fun every day. They push each other every day. They're great guys. It's a great defense. One of the top defenses in America, and it's been fun to play on. I'm glad to be a part of it, and if I stand out as a leader or a tone setter for that defense, then I'm honored. But those seniors and my other teammates that play on the defense, the other black shirts, have done a phenomenal job.
See Coach Chinander embodying that, what you just described for this defense, or do you, in what he's been through this year, the way that he coaches, what he brings into the every day?
Yeah, I mean, the followers take the personality of their leader. The players take personality of their coach, and that's the personality of our coach. How he's changed our defense over the years into what it is now and what it will continue to be and grow as, speaks volumes to the coach and how he leads as a person. We've embodied that as players, as black shirts, and we'll continue to do so. And he like a father figure to me. He's a guy I look up to on the coaching staff and take wisdom from, take teaching points, and grab little nuggets of information.
What do you think of when you think of this senior class? What comes to mind? And then how do you kind of say goodbye to some of these guys who you don't know if they'll be back next year?
Like I said, they're a bunch of fighters. They've been through a lot of adversity, a lot of changes, a lot of things that most college kids shouldn't, go through with their football career. The sense of coaching changes and, the seasons that they've had for the work that they put in, not reaping the benefits to the work that they've done. It's tough for those guys because, everybody's going to look back and think that, these guys are losers because we haven't, won as many games as we thought, or the record isn't what we thought. But in my eyes, practicing with those guys, they practice like champions every day. They've been through a lot, and they fought through that adversity, and they've come to work and put smiles on everybody's faces, and been some of the mainstays in our defenses and made plays when we need them to.
You're obviously familiar with Iowa at this point. What is the key, and is there anything that you need to clean up, I guess, from Saturday against Wisconsin that needs to be better when you face a team that you know is going to want to run the ball?
Yeah, obviously Wisconsin had a really good running back. We kind of misfit a couple runs that made him look like an elite running back. Still really was a really good guy, but going from Wisconsin to Iowa's offense, not a whole lot changed in the sense of a run game. Need to fit those gaps, need to shut down the run offense, obviously, and get them in a game that they don't want to play.
Anything else for Garrett? All right, appreciate it. I think we'll have Levi Paul next. Thanks, Garrett.
Levi, you came here thinking you'd only get 1 year. You got 2 at Nebraska. Like last year's event for you.
Yeah, I mean, that I'm really grateful that I got that second year and got to that full experience. Last year the fans were kind of missing, and first year in an offense it never goes as planned, and getting that second year, got to feel more comfortable and got the fans, and it's been everything that I could have hoped for.
What would it mean? Obviously, the year hasn't gone the way any of you wanted it to. What would it mean to close it out with a win against?
That would be so awesome, and it's obviously doable, and we all believe that it's doable. And we all truly believe that we're going to come out and end it on a good note and send this team off in a good direction heading into next season.
Levi, what have these 2 years done for you as far as shaping where you're going to go? Where do you go next month? After this season, and how have these 2 seasons in Nebraska played a role in your?
I think just playing at the biggest stage. My goal is obviously to play at the next level, whether it's NFL, CFL. That's always been my goal, and showing that I can do it at the highest level in Power 5 and the Big Ten. I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to use this platform and hopefully prove the case that I can play at the next level.
The transfer portal becomes kind of a bigger thing. I mean, you've been through that. What's sort of the key to settling in somewhere and being a contributor sooner than later?
Getting in right away. I know I got in and texted Luke and Adrian right away and just said, hey, let's go over the offense. Just learn as much as you can. Get to know the guys as much as you can. Develop those relationships fast and just throw yourself all the way in and don't look back and just do everything the right way too. Is always showing up on time, asking questions, and just, everything's got to be you learning as fast as you can and learning the guys and the coaches as fast as you can and just all in.
How much did it feel like you already kind of knew how to prepare from your previous experience in college? Like, how helpful was that?
That was huge, yeah. Just learning all the little things, you learn a lot that you can carry over. And basically when I come to Nebraska, I was just learning the verbiage. The new words mean different things, but other than that, I mean, I knew from just playing in games, the right spacing, the spacing you need to have, how to set certain corners up on different coverages, and all that's transferable. It's just mainly just learning the new words.
You guys were obviously really aggressive on offense Saturday. Just got frosted after the game as you were planning for it. Players seem to be enjoying what was, some of the being aggressive and taking chances. Do you see that kind of carrying forward? Has that kind of been the attitude?
I think so. Yeah. Wisconsin was ranked if the best defense, if not, Georgia maybe slightly ahead of them. But I mean, their numbers, they're top defense in the nation, and we kind of just put our mind to it, like we're going to be aggressive here, and we truly believe that we're a really good offense that can put up yards against anyone. So coming out and doing that against Wisconsin gave us a lot of confidence, and I think going into Iowa, we're gonna be aggressive, and we have all the confidence in the world that we're going to be able to be successful.
What's Mike Cassano like as a guy to have at the front of your room here for a couple of weeks? And I guess what was your relationship with him like before he's taken over here recently?
Yeah, before he was in the room. He wasn't leading the meetings, but we would put in extra work with him. When Lubick would be in meetings with Frost, Kazi would. We call him Kazi. We'd have some extra meetings with him and just going over the little details like that. And he's always been really involved. And now that he's the head guy, I mean, it really hasn't changed much. He's still in there. He's leading the meetings now, but he was leading meetings like those extra meetings before, and we all have a really good relationship with him. And we trust him 100%, and we haven't looked back.
Iowa's another really good defense, forces a lot of interceptions. What stands out about their defense as a whole, and in particular their secondary?
I think they play really well together. They're cohesive, and they've played a lot of games together as a unit, and they've been really successful. But so is Wisconsin. Like they all played together. Those corners started in 30-plus games each, and we're still going to be aggressive against them and be successful and put up some yards against them for sure.
Can you speak to Adrian's toughness? I mean, he had to leave the game again and came back in, and he's done that twice this year. Better than 83. I mean, what have you just seen from him over the course of this season?
Everyone just is, I'd say, amazed by what he's gone through, and you haven't really seen his play dip. He's always out there running around and making athletic throws on the run and making good decisions. He threw that interception, but I mean, his shoulder was hurting and didn't look back, last drive drove us all the way down the field, and it's just crazy to see, he's playing through multiple injuries. Some guys usually have one injury that they're playing through. He's playing through multiple, and that just everyone on the team is just amazed and look up to him, and we're really proud of what he's accomplished this year.
Levi, how do you feel about the receiver room that you're kind of going to leave behind? You've seen all the young talent, how they're doing behind the scenes, but what's your vibe on that group as it goes on?
Yeah, when I came here to what it is now, it's made tremendous strides. Everyone's showing up on time. Everyone knows the offense now, and they're not even so much asking me like, well, what do I have on this route? Like, everyone knows what they have on this route now. They're kind of getting into like the deeper questions: is what should I do to attack this corner? And the strides that these young guys have made has been awesome. And me and Samar are going to be leaving obviously after this game. I think we're both proud of how much work they've put in and how we've led them a little bit in the right direction.
What could you say about Samori also going out there last time when you're here, the impact he made?
Yeah, you guys have all seen it. He's works his tail off and crazy fast, and just has a special gift of getting open over the middle, and if the ball's in the air, he's going to come down with it. It's been really awesome to watch him and see him succeed at the top level coming from an FCS school.
You talked a little bit about that over your time here, but you've got you, Samari, obviously Larvik on the other side, have all come from the FCS level. I mean, what is there, even when you're playing at that level, I mean, there's got to be some interest in wanting to show it. I mean, you think there's a lot of players at that level that could do it in the Big Ten or at the Power 5 level?
I think so. Recruiting's a tricky thing. Obviously, the FBS schools aren't going to catch every single top talented guy. Some guys are going to fly under the radar. Some guys were injured during high school and have to go to the FCS route. And I think maybe some people underestimate the talent at the FCS level, especially the Missouri Valley and Samari's conference. Was that the Big Sky? The Big Sky is unreal talent too, and maybe some people underestimate how much talent is in those leagues.
Anything else for Levi? Thank you.
Thank you.
down the Class B championship game for us. Who do you have tonight?
I got the skis by 90, but my little cousin plays for him, so I'll be at the game. Looking forward to cheering those guys on.
I mean, it's kind of cool that the high school. I mean, that takes you back, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I played in that game out there. It was at the time I knew I was going to play here, so it was a little different for me knowing that I was going to play on that field more. But it's an experience those guys will never forget.
You go through seeing that.
Yeah, I plan to. I haven't decided what my plan is yet in the future. That's a conversation I need to have with more people before I decide. But yeah, my plan is to do senior day.
Do you think the NIL part, does that play a piece in acting decisions for guys like you? I mean, the fact that you can make some money, you say, right?
Absolutely. It's changing the game of football. I'm in a unique spot to where I can play another year of football, where I can get bigger, faster, stronger, and make a little money while I'm doing it. It puts me in a unique spot, but I mean, there's great opportunities at the next level too. I mean, there's pros and cons to both that I need to weigh, and that's a decision that still needs to be made on my part.
What do you think just the emotions of that day will be when you don't know, like you said, if you don't know if you're coming back, you don't know who you're saying goodbye to necessarily. What do you think?
It's going to feel a little weird because I don't know when it's going to be, if it's going to be my last. But that's how I tell guys they should play, is play it like it should be, play it like it is your last game, because you never know what it's going to be. A lot of guys get hurt. A lot of guys have season career-ending injuries that really, hamper them. So that's kind of my mentality, is just play every game like your last. And in this case, it could be my last year for Nebraska.
Obviously, the season hasn't gone the way you guys wanted it to, but what would it mean to end it with a win against Iowa?
Yeah, beating Iowa in anything is a great feeling for a Nebraska fan, and we need to get that one done for the fans, this university, this program. It would set us on a good step towards what this program is going to become. It'd put us on a good trajectory leading into this offseason of showing the guys who we are as a team and who they're becoming in this program and what they're going to become. I look forward to, hopefully getting the job done for, like I said, the fans. We owe it to them. It's been a frustrating season of being close but not getting it done. If we get this one done, I know a lot of people will be happy.
Set a record, obviously, Saturday for single game yardage. Was that about how much that had to do with the way the game was called? The way that coaches were looking for you with the play calls, or was it just that your routes seemed to be open a lot?
Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of both in regards to. we knew we were going to take shots, therefore. Adrian was going to have to make plays, and when he scrambles, pretty much anybody's open on the table. It's anybody's ball at that point. It's also goes into effect that it's what we had in for the tight end was pretty appetizing against a defense like Wisconsin's. But they had a great game plan. We put up some pretty significant numbers on a very good defense. I'm happy with the way we played as an offense. Didn't get the job done in all three aspects of the game, which was frustrating, but I'm happy with the way our offense played.
On that part too, were you expecting to get the ball at the snap, or was that sort of just making something happen as the play developed?
It was making something happen after the play. Adrian had to scramble and kind of look back, and I kind of sensed that there was nobody around me, and then it hit me. I was like, oh crap, nobody's around me. I gotta, go. But Adrian made a great play on that one.
Was that a run play?
What'd you say?
Was it a run play?
It was RPO-ish, I guess.
How was Adrian? Obviously, he went through a lot again on that game. How's he holding up heading into this week?
Yeah, he's a warrior. It's come out about how he's been battling through stuff all season. He's a warrior, and I can't say enough good things about him. But he's the leader of this team, and that's all I can really say about that.
Not to your decision, the fact that the wins haven't quite come as you hoped and you haven't got over the hill, is that one of those factors in the pros and cons that a guy's like you weighing right now, that stick around and see that change?
Absolutely. I have an emotional connection to this university of wanting to get this thing turned around, wanting to get it turned around for the guys, for the coaches, because I mean, if we don't, I mean, it's the coaches' really livelihood that's on the line, and that's evident with 3 weeks ago with those 4 coaches. I mean, we haven't succeeded as players to getting the details right, and really the coaches had to pay for it. So it's an emotional tie for me to get it right for those guys and for people in this university, because really owe it to them to get it done.
What do you think of just with this senior class in general? How would you characterize what that group has been with? And maybe you're part of that, maybe you're not. What do you think of when you think of that group of guys?
Guys that have seen it all. I mean, we've had our fair shares of ups and downs while we've been a part of this university. It seems like the guys, these senior classes, I mean, we're the toughness is something that would describe these guys, just because the way we've handled having a close loss and being able to come back and battle our butts off. But it's tough and frustrating at the same time. So it's kind of 2 words I would describe it.
Austin, how would you say you have individually improved over the last 4 years? What part of your game do you think has changed?
The biggest thing for me, I think, was confidence. I know my first couple of years was, not to say I wasn't confident, but I mean, there's a certain aspect of stepping in to a Big Ten team as a redshirt freshman, getting action on the field. It's something that it's a little intimidating, and as the years go on, you start to realize that those guys are the same size, same speed as guys would go at practice, and it kind of builds confidence of going against a really good defensive line. I mean, Caleb Tanner, Ben Stilley. I mean, those are some of the best, and really in this conference. Garrett Nelson. It just over the years, my confidence grew, and I think that's the biggest step I took.
Do you want to help get the young guys ready? How have you seen not just Vidone, but Carney, Rollins, Borkercher, everybody sort of where they're developing and where they're at right now?
Yeah, it feels like at the start when people come in here, they really tread water in terms of learning the playbook, and that sometimes you get so focused on that. Sometimes the technique and really toughness part of it of being a Big Ten tight end kind of slips, so you got to find an even balance. And I think some of those guys that it was take a step here and then had to take a step back and take another step here, not to step back, but take another step in a different area. And I think that was the biggest thing with guys like Carney and Rollins, is learning the playbook really well. It's just you got to take a step in the toughness side of things, and then some ways the other for the other guys, but they're coming along really well. I'm happy with the progress that those guys have showed, and I'm excited to see what they can do here in a year or two. Those guys will be ready. Hopefully we, with guys like Nate and Hickman staying, I mean, hopefully we've showed them the ropes enough to, if we do decide to leave, I mean, they can take over.
Anything else for us? All right, thank you. All right, questions?
Turner, what's this year been like for you? You know, your first extensive year going through this conference. How do you kind of size up what it's been like, the journey?
It's been pretty interesting so far. You know, being able to start as a sophomore at a Power 5 program, you know, it's been a blessing. You know, the whole 11 games have taken a wear and tear on me, but, you know, nothing that I can't handle here going into week 12 against Iowa. So, you know, I'm ready for the challenge.
What's the animosity like? What do you think it would be like?
You know, I think the team is in good spirits right now. You know, we're all still playing for one another. You know, with all the coaching changes and everything, I feel like if we would have – that game could have gone one of two ways, I felt like. where we could have got beaten pretty badly because, you know, we wouldn't have been playing well together. You know, our coaches are gone, whatever it is. But, you know, I thought we played well together as a team, and, you know, that really showed the characters of everyone on this team.
How tough was that for you and some of the other guys
Yeah.
in the room when Greg left?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. You know, we were all pretty emotional with the whole situation. But, you know, with everything said and all the guys around me, you know, we all kind of rallied around each other as, you know, the whole week went along. And, you know, we played for each other that game. We played for our coaching staff. So
last week, as the coaches kind of laid out the game plan, what was going through your mind? I mean, you're playing the top-ranked defense in the country, and the plan was to be aggressive. What goes through you guys' minds?
You know, whatever game plan that Frost wants to come up with, we're all for it. You know, we're going to execute it to the best of our abilities. And, you know, I thought we did a pretty good job of that, putting up 450 yards of offense on the #1 defense in the country.
What do you make of this rivalry with Iowa? It's big for the fans. How big is it for you as a player?
You know, it's obviously a big rivalry around here. I haven't been able to experience it much. Obviously, last year there weren't any fans at the game, so I really wasn't able to experience it at its full force. And, you know, this year I feel like it's going to be another good game like it has been in the past couple of years. So, you know, I'm excited for us to be able to go out there and compete against Iowa and to be able to, you know, just go out there and compete.
Any of the older guys say anything about it? Like it's a little different, or is it just like, is it not even a point of conversation?
They definitely treat it like it's a different game, but at the end of the day, they always say, you know, it's just it's another game in the conference that we got to go out and attack, that we got to go win.
What's the next step you want to take individually as a player?
I got to get better at my pass protection. It's no secret. You know, barring my injury from fall camp, you know, that kind of slowed me down a little bit, and I feel like if I'm able to polish off that part of my game, I need to be better. So.
What's this senior class mean to you?
It means a whole lot. There's a lot of great guys on this team, you know, like JoJo and Adrian and Austin Allen. You know, the list goes on. These dudes have really inspired me in ways that they don't know. You know, I've kind of just been looking back from afar and just watching and collecting everything in. But, you know, as a leader standpoint, they've really, you know, set the stage for what being a leader here means. So.
All right. Good. Thank you.
rivalry game. What is it like for you guys? Is it different or no?
Yeah, obviously there's a little more that goes into the game. You know, the preparation is similar, obviously. Just as far as you prepare like any opponent, but then obviously on game day there's a little extra juice that goes into it for sure. You can just feel it. You're lying if you don't feel it.
Why do you feel it? Why do you feel that? In your, it's a subjective conversation, so why do you feel it?
Yeah, I think there's a little just I guess more hatred that goes towards each other, on both sides of the ball. So, it's just a little extra that goes into the game for sure.
Obviously, last year was a weird year, your 5th year here. Is it hard to believe that this is the last one, or has it felt like a long time coming? Where's your mind at on that?
Yeah, last season was probably the longest season I can remember, just feeling wise, obviously, with everything going on, and this year it just seemed like it flew by. So, it came quick. When I made the decision to come back last year, it always seems like a year's time at the end of the season. Then seems like that's a long time out, and it seems like that when you're a second-year guy, you're a first-year guy, and you think you got five years left. In my case, 6 years left. It seems like a long time, and you have a ton of time till you get there, and then it always flies by. So, it's kind of just something I try to pass on to the younger guys too.
Nash had to play a lot with Damian down a little bit. What have you seen out of him, just where he's at and how he's kind of grown in that role?
Yeah, Nash's jump was, it's evident in all the kind of, I guess, the D-line guys that kind of, they make that jump there. They're not very good, at one point, and then all of a sudden there's a practice where it clicks. For him, it was the spring game 2 years ago. That was kind of his little coming out party, and then he never looked back. So, it happens for the guys that are, that have the, God-given abilities, and then, they also, to go with it, have the dedication, the cerebral side of it, and the want to. For those guys, it's going to click. It's just a matter of when. So, for him, yeah, he's obviously been progressing ever since that spring game 2 years ago.
The record isn't what you wanted, but on the defensive side of the ball, do you have some satisfaction with the foundation you're kind of leaving it, with the guys that are in the program? What's your feeling on it, where it's at going forward?
Yeah, I think, they'll have a good core of guys back, and obviously these first 3 years with Coach Chin's foundation's definitely been laid. As far as just improving year by year, and so I think they'll be in a good place for next year and have a good core of guys too. So, proud of that aspect of it, I guess.
A lot of guys have to make the decision here coming up that you made last year about whether to come back or not. What kind of advice can you give them as they're kind of weighing the pros and cons of to come back to another season?
Yeah, obviously, it's something you have to really want to do. If it's something you're dragging your feet on, you're doing for a lot of reasons other than you really wanting to. I guess it's going to be a miserable year for you. So there's a lot of work obviously that goes into it, and those guys know what it takes. So all those guys weighing those decisions, I think they know what goes into it, and they know what to expect for another year if they sign up for it. So you just really got to have the want to, though.
What do you think has defined your senior class?
Say that again.
What do you think has defined or been characteristic?
Those of us that are still here, resiliency for sure is a word that comes to mind. Been through a lot, but those dudes that were here from day one, however many of us there are, and that are still here, those are some of the most resilient people I know, and it's going to serve them well later in life. JoJo and I have talked about this, but there's not a lot of things later in life that are going to be harder than what we've gone through here in our time, and just how much this has prepared us for the rest of our lives.
Anything else for Ben? All right, appreciate it.
Hey, Eric, with Iowa, what's the key, obviously with a team you know is going to want to run the ball, and what do you need to get? Is it a similar challenge last week with Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think Iowa's done a really good job in running the football, and they marry up their play action passes really well with their run scheme. Just like Wisconsin, I think they're an ascending group on offense. Obviously, it's gonna we got to tackle better. That's no secret. I thought probably last game we did not tackle well as a group. I thought we attacked some run fits probably a little too fast, and that's on me. I had those guys wired up to really go hit those run fits and try to make that thing real small. As everybody watched the football game, some of those runs got bounced around a little bit in the backfield and popped loose on us, which was very unfortunate. But I think some of that's definitely on me, not on the kids. But when we're playing a game like this, obviously the guys up front got to do a really good job. They got to take this game over for us, and then I think as a group we got to tackle the ball carrier better. We got to leverage the ball better, and we got to do a better job of getting the guy on the ground.
I know you don't like to make excuses, but how much did it impact you not really having Damian much, not having Williams, not having JoJo?
Yeah, I mean, I think it impacts you. I mean, it's those are really good football players and guys that have been leaders on the team. Changes things a little bit, and then Caleb goes down early in the game as well. But that's football, and the next guy's got to play, and those next guys are going to play next year. And it wasn't like we need to call timeout when we didn't have those guys because we didn't know what to do. Those guys were ready to play football. They just got to keep getting better and better, and the rest of the group's got to cover up for a little bit of those guys. When you get a new guy in there, it doesn't matter who it is or how much experience they have. When you get a new guy in there, it takes a while to get acclimated. Your eyes are big, especially against playing a team like Wisconsin. But it's football. Everybody's got guys that are injured. We're no different. Iowa's no different. Wisconsin's no different. Everybody's got guys that are banged up and guys that are injured. So we got to do what we got to do to win football games and continue to play good defense with or without guys that are in the lineup. And I hope we can get them all back. But the next guys up got to take a stand, and the next guys up got to be ready to roll.
How was the tackling compared to maybe like the rest of the season? How much of an issue was it on Saturday?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I thought throughout the year we've tackled pretty well. We've done a really good job leveraging the football. There hasn't been a lot of misses out there, and the ones that have got missed have been missed the correct way, and that's a funny thing to say, but when you miss on the right leverage and you bounce around a little bit, the rest of the posse can hunt. But that game where they're getting in 22 personnel or bringing an extra tackle in, and that box is so packed, those tackles are critical because there's a massive humanity in the A gap, and when that thing gets bounced around and somebody misses, there's nobody left to make that tackle. So I don't think it was like, oh my gosh, we weren't tackling anybody, but a couple of those ones that got missed just became intensely magnified because of the kind of game we were in.
What's sort of your summary of Blaze Gunnarson's just progression? I know there's been injuries early on, but how he's come on.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, probably, oh man, I mean, he was injured coming in, from high school. We had to get him some things repaired and all those types of things. He's made some steady progress, and to be honest with you, really after the first bye week, we kind of thought, man, this guy's really playing well. And maybe that was because during that bye week you had an opportunity to get some of the older guys a little rest, and you had some good periods with some younger guys playing. But we got a chance to see him against some of the first string offense, some of those good tackles and one-on-ones and some of those good periods. So I think that first bye week was we were kind of like, man, this guy's really coming along. Him and both him and Jamari. And so it wasn't necessarily a great thing that he had to go in the game because Caleb got injured, but really good to see him respond. Did he make some errors? Absolutely. Did he play really good Big Ten football? He sure did against a really good football team. So that was very positive to see.
I guess I'd kind of ask a similar question about Nash since he's a central part of it now. Where's he at in your mind?
Yeah, I think Nash is probably a little different than Blaze. I think Nash we kind of saw a little bit earlier that he was coming along really well, and he's got some very meaningful reps against Cam Jurgens, which is always a good barometer to see where those guys are at. But he just had Damian Daniels has played such good football, and some of those other guys he hasn't had a chance to get in as many games. But Nash is really coming along well too.
How do you
your vision, how do you think you'll process senior day this Friday, Eric, when there's so many guys that you're not sure if they're coming back, if this is goodbye? What's that going to be like?
Yeah, I don't anticipate many guys will walk on senior day that are going to come back, if that makes sense. There may be a couple guys, and I know they're all talking with Coach Frost, there may be a couple guys that aren't 100% sure, but I think most guys at this juncture are either walking and leaving or not walking and coming back, but there's always a couple out there. I think every senior day's mixed emotions, really cool for me to see them and their parents, and very emotional day, very sad to see them go. Probably for a lot of these guys, I wish we had them back another year, but they're going to start on the next leg of their life, whether that be Sunday football or their professional journey. But a very mixed emotions on senior day always, and it's been a special group to me just because this group was kind of some of the ones that started, even though we had some seniors, and I remember a lot of those guys, the Mick Stoltenbergs and the Davis brothers and Giff and all those guys. But this group has kind of grown up in the system a little bit, and it's going to be sad to see these guys go. They've done a lot for this program, and they've really played well this year.
Garrett Nelson was really complimentary on Saturday of Caleb Tanner and the growth that he's had over the past year. What does that look like to you maybe over the last 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with Garrett. I don't know if it's so much growth in between the white lines. I think it's growth outside the lines. Caleb has become, this year, in my opinion, he has become a really good teammate. He's starting to develop leadership traits. He's taking care of business in the classroom. He's taking care of business off the field. He's just really fun to be around right now. And so I think that Garrett's right. I think there probably has been, there's growth with everybody in between the lines every single year, and Caleb's no different. But that growth outside the white lines for me, for Caleb, has been the fun part to watch.
Iowa's got a lineman, Linderbaum, at center. You've seen a lot of good ones at Iowa in your life. I mean, how does he stack up, and what does he really do for their offensive line?
Yeah, I think he's an exceptional football player. He's very athletic. Is the kind of the first thing you notice about him. I think, to be honest with you, we'll see the look we get from Cam Jurgens is very, very accurate, because I find both those guys to be similar in size, and also they're both very, very athletic centers. So I think that look that Cam gives us all year when we do good on good periods is going to be carry over, really well for playing Iowa. But I think that kid's, he's very smart. He makes all the calls. He makes all the checks. Very athletic. Finishes plays. He just looks like a Big Ten offensive lineman, just on the upper side of the athleticism.
Is this your traditional Iowa offense that you've seen so far out of him this year, Coach?
Yeah, I think they're always going to get good at a few run plays. Those run plays might not, be the same year to year. I think they kind of tailor that to the personnel they got, whether they have tight ends or fullbacks and what kind of back they have and those types of things. But, that's going to be based off that zone run game, and it's going to stretch you out, and the running backs are going to be really good at cutting that thing back, and they're going to try to, formation and shift and give you a different look at their packages. The thing that we've noticed as of late is they've added some gap schemes into the equation, some counter and some power, some pin and pull. But, this is who they are. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to try to run it right at you, and then they're going to complement you with the play-action passes that marry up to the run plays. And then they also have the ability, with some of their receivers to take a shot downfield. They're very good, double moves, max proing that thing up and trying to let one rip and see if your DBs are getting too nosy in the run fit. So I think they have a very nice pieces all around to build off that run game that they've developed.
Does it change much based on who they have in at quarterback?
You know what? To be honest with you, it doesn't seem like it changes up much. I think both their quarterbacks have their own different tendencies, but I think that the offense is going to stay pretty stable. So I don't think it matters who's in there.
What does this rivalry mean to you? Because obviously your history, and then what would a win mean to the program?
This rivalry. I think it means everything. I know our guys want to win. They want to win a game in the last stretch here, but they want to win this one. This game's got a trophy involved. Anytime there's a trophy involved, it's a special football game. Obviously, for me growing up in that state, there's a lot of people that I know they're going to be cheering for Iowa, which is, obviously adds a little fuel to the fire. There's going to be a lot of people I know in that state that are going to be cheering for Nebraska, and I know that they're wearing black shirts gear to the game and/or to the bar or wherever they're watching the game, and they're going to take a lot of heat. And I know they're doing that for me and for the Huskers, so that means a lot. But this football game, this is one that I think is kind of earmarked on everyone's calendar all year, just because this is the battle for the border right here, and we have to start winning some of these games before you can take the next step in the program's rise, if you will. And I think these games are big in recruiting. These games are big for the team, and this, a win in this kind of game can set you up for where you want to go next year. It can set you up a little bit as we go off recruiting. So I think this game is super important, not only about the rivalry, but also just the aftermath that a win could mean to the program.
Anything else for Coach? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Coach Frost. Coach.
Coach, what are the challenges on a short week just getting out?
I don't think getting up is going to be the issue. Getting prepared for a good team is going to be an issue. But kids are excited to play. We're not going to grind them this week and do a ton of hitting. We're just going to get the best game plan in we can and let it rip.
That last play against Wisconsin, is that something you can send into the conference to get an explanation or some sort of feedback?
Yeah, the right protocol is to send any plays we have questions or concerns about into the Big Ten. We've done that before. You know, there's nothing they can say or do that's going to change anything, so leave it at that.
In the 3 games you played with five, they've all been pretty close. Special teams play here and there, just kind of push it one way or the other. How important is it to just have the best, cleanest game you guys can have?
Yeah, it's important. Playing a complete game and playing a clean game matters. And, you know, I compliment them all the time, but I compliment them in that they don't beat themselves. They create turnovers. They play well on special teams. I think they do a good job in all 3 phases. You know, Kirk does a great job. Brian does a good job with the offense, and you got to beat them. They're not gonna lose the game.
How big do you think the NIL piece might be this year and in future years, in like juniors who are deciding what to do, knowing they could stay and make some money here?
Yeah, potentially big. You know, we got a bunch of guys getting ready to walk for senior day, and we're going to let some walk that still are going to make a decision after senior day whether they're going to get 2 senior days or 1. A lot of guys we'd love to see come back again, and I think it's smart for those guys to probably celebrate senior day and then put their toe in the water and check and see what their status would be and make a good decision. But potentially being able to make a little money and have some other benefits through NIL opportunities here certainly doesn't hurt an opportunity to get kids back again for another year.
Scott, typically we see Adrian up here on these Mondays. Is there any update on his status? Is there anything you can say?
Yeah, you guys know I don't really talk about injuries unless it's season ending. We have 1 game left. Adrian won't be available. He has a shoulder injury that he's going to have to get addressed after the season. Happened in the first half Saturday. He's such a tough kid. I didn't expect him to play in the second half, and he came up to me right before the second half kickoff and said he wanted to go. Played well, played tough. Feel terrible for him, but appreciate him, and we're going to have to be without him Friday.
You said you've been talking to him for a while about what the future looks like. I mean, does that change that conversation? You start from scratch on it?
You know, I talked to him after this, and I think he needs a little time and space from you know, this has been a challenging year. We made a lot of progress. He's played really well most of the entire year. Teams played well most of the entire year. We haven't got the results we wanted. I think we can talk about those things after Iowa. We need to be focused on Iowa right now.
Is Logan then to start against Iowa?
Yeah, Logan and Harburg are both taking reps, and we'll get them ready. They've both done some really good things in practice. Logan's done some really good things in the game, and I got confidence in him.
Could you see a scenario where you play them both, or do you want to have one designated guy?
I think there's a scenario that both could play. Obviously, Logan's earned the right to be the guy right now, but I can see a scenario where both get a chance.
Do you know how Adrian injured his shoulder? Do you know what happened?
Yeah, he was rolling right and threw one and kind of got hit as he was throwing, and it wasn't much of anything at all. I think he just braced his hands out to kind of catch himself, and we didn't know the severity of it at halftime until we got back and examined everything. I think he had told us he had some clicking in his shoulder, and didn't know if he could throw with the same velocity that he usually threw with. And like I said, I didn't expect him to play in the second half, and he came up to me and said he wanted to go. And I said, I'm going to let you play if you feel good enough, and he gutted it out.
Is he one of those guys that's going to walk?
I would encourage him to. I haven't talked to him about that. I'm kind of talking to each of those guys individually, but I would encourage him to walk, and certainly hope it's not his last one. But if it is, he needs to be honored.
That game plan you ran against Wisconsin, could you operate that way with the backups?
No, you want me to tell you what we're running? Yeah, we did some unique things, but also a lot of those things were kind of in our catalog and menu of things that we can do. We dressed it up a little different and had some new things. These two have been in quarterback meetings all year, taking reps all year, so they're familiar enough with what we do that there's plenty of good things that we have available.
If Adrian has played, his last game, I'll ask you just maybe your thoughts on his time here, the toughness that he's played with. He has a total offense record, all those things.
Well, I don't want to talk about him like he's gone, so I don't want to get into those speculations. Playing quarterback here is tough. Being a head coach here is tough. I've said it a bunch. You get more praise than you deserve when things are going well, and more blame you deserve when things aren't. I've lived that as a quarterback, and he's done a ton of really good things at the University of Nebraska. Sometimes it's been great, sometimes it hasn't. But I admire and respect him, and he and I have been battling through a lot together, and I just appreciate who he is.
You talked a lot about belief in terms of believing you're going to win. How much belief did the team and guys have behind Logan and what you've seen from his leadership this year?
One thing you say about this team, we're not going to stop fighting, and this team won't stop fighting Friday. I can guarantee that. We're playing a really good team. They got a lot better record than we do, but we're going to give ourselves every opportunity we can to try to be in the game.
Austin Allen's pretty much doubled his production each of the last 3 years to get to where he's at now. He's, probably going to break every single season tight end record here. What's impressed you the most, I guess, about his growth over the course of his career here?
First I'll make a plug for him, but his stats bear it out. But in my opinion, he's an all-conference player. He's reliable. That's the best thing I can say about him. Anything you need him to do or get done, he's going to get it done. He's turned himself into a really fine player at that position and a great leader. And he's one of the guys that's the heart and soul of our team.
What do you think characterizes this senior class of guys that will walk and maybe guys that likely will, and some of these guys who were with you, when you came in here?
I suppose I'd pick the word perseverance. These guys have been through a lot, coaching changes and ups and downs and heartbreak in some of these games this year, and continue to work and fight through all of it. Some of them I hope aren't done, but the ones that are deserve to be sent off the right way by our home crowd and our fans.
What does your running back room look like this week for Iowa? You were out without Ramir and Chuck.
It's a room about 1/8 this size with pictures in it of old running backs.
Is there a chance Ramir could be back this week?
We'll see. It's kind of been day to day with him. I would say most likely not, but he's fighting to get back. Same with quite a few other guys.
Is there any, Yan did make an appearance in that game. A lot of people sort of wondered where he was at against Wisconsin.
That was a coach's decision to go with the other guys. So he'll be available and ready to play this week.
Scott, what do you expect from Logan in this moment?
He had a great day of practice today. Both of them did. So I think he's been looking forward to this moment. Like you guys have seen it, he's done really well when he's gone into games and operated well. This is a good defense we're playing, obviously, so it's going to be a big challenge. He's really sharp. He's not the fresh-faced kid that's going to get surprised by a bunch of things or pressures or different looks. He's really smart and knows our offense and can operate it. So we're gonna give him the ball and let him try to do it.
I know your tackles have had some tough moments this year, but where do you see Turner, Bryce, and guys behind him kind of ending the season and heading into another one?
Yeah, a lot of room for growth. We actually I thought we protected really well Saturday, especially considering the defense we were playing. We put them in a lot of protections that I think helped a little bit, but they heated us up at the end, and other than that, we kept Adrian pretty clean throughout the game. It's ironic that that happened to Adrian in that game to me because I think he got hit probably less in that game than he has in almost any game this year. But the guys are fighting and scrapping. A couple of them playing through nicks and cuts. That's football. Still a lot of room for growth and a lot of talent at that position.
I'm sure you take a few hours for Thanksgiving dinner, but after that, how many days in a row do you think you're just going to be going at it every single day? Not just coaching, but trying to put together the roster and the coaching staff.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of change. I don't really want to think about that too much until we get through this game. We're going to fight and claw, try to get this one. Again, I got a ton of respect for them and what they do, and it's going to be a tough game. They're a good team, but that's where our focus is right now. And right after the game, there's going to be a lot of work to be done.
You mentioned Blaze and Jamari specifically after the game on Saturday. Obviously, Blaze played quite a bit. What have you seen from those two guys? Chinander said sort of came on a little bit maybe over that first bye week.
Yeah, just steady growth. Blaze is a kid that came in and was just nagged by injuries for a long time. And we didn't even really know what we had there because we didn't get to see him do much. Jamari, we always thought had a bunch of talent and has really started to figure it out this season. So I think those guys have bright futures. Phil Darius was out last week and out for this game too. So we're a little thin there. And when guys get their opportunities, we want them to grab it with both hands.
A few guys have said this game absolutely means more because it's Iowa. It's a subjective discussion. Does it mean more in your eyes?
At this point in time, this is the only thing that matters. Yeah.
What did Logan, meaningful snaps, he had a bunch in Michigan State, or a handful, I should say. What did he show you in that brief period of time that gives you confidence that he can run the ship at a high level?
Yeah, he's come in several games and looked really good, made a really good throw. I think it was a Buffalo game, and led us on a drive. Against Michigan State. I think we had 2 false start penalties on the drive. He was leading us down the field. So I get small sample size, big sample size at practice, but feel good about him being ready to play on Friday.
Coach? Coach, football finals back in Memorial Stadium. It's good to see these games back in here.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm jealous of these kids. I never got to play in a state championship. We got beat my sophomore year bad in the semis, and then my junior and senior year both got beat by a team up north with a chubby fullback. And I didn't get to play in one of these. Great to see these kids out here on Memorial Stadium field, and congratulations to them and good luck to everybody.
Thanks, Coach.